So, what if the real winners of the new globalization aren't the biggest economies, but actually the smartest projects? Well, in this episode, I will reveal the AWTY Globalization Index, and I will show you why it's the new North Star for innovation. In this episode also, you'll meet Pablo Frieiro from Cetin, in Galicia, España. He's a chemist who turned research strategies. He's a research manager nowadays. And, well, he's managing 12 EU projects. And he believes that real progress comes from working in the middle of what's called the Death Valley. I'm sure you will enjoy his interview. He shares why international partnerships matter more than ever and what makes research relevant, scalable and fundable. Very, very interesting interview. And okay, if you have a project on fundamental rights in Europe, I'll show you exactly how to apply to this new open call, the SERV 2025 Carliti. Never mind, it's the name of the code of the call. So it opens up to 18 million in funding and 90% of your costs are covered for the Citizens Equality Rights and Values program. They will support charter awareness and capacity building projects or empowering civic space, strategic litigation, combating hate speech and hate crime, and or protecting whistleblowers. So this will be a way to use EU funds to win globalization because it will be investing in the core values of Europe. Things like the rule of law, democracy, free speech, that kind of values we take for granted. We shouldn't. Okay, see you. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Hey innovators, quick reality check. Globalization hasn't died. It's been rewired, rerouted, whatever you want to call it. And I've created this index, the AWTY New Globalization Index, to measure how it's changing. Today I'm going to drop 3 power insights from this brand new index and why they matter to your next research, your next innovation project, your next application. So the index in 5 seconds is like this. It has 5 pillars. It measures trade diversification, two-way foreign direct investment, digital trade muscle, treaty connectivity, and cultural exchange. It measures this for 181 countries with over 32,000 data points. And well, the results are a show of what really matters is resilience, not size. This Friday, this new index will be published in my newsletter, Polis Doxa, the transitions letter. It's not another list of who's exporting more widgets or who signed most trade agreements. It's actually a compass. It's a tool to help you understand and navigate the changes in globalization and what globalization actually means in 2025. So I rank these 181 countries across 5 indicators, which I mentioned before. And I asked this simple question: who's ready for the new globalization? The post-pandemic, post-war, post-tariffs globalization. If you're writing EU proposals or planning to do so, if you're writing some sort of research proposal, you need to see this because in the next call, the projects that diversify supply chain, that scale cross-border digital services, or that link innovation to trusted and resilient partnerships, or the projects that show how they fit in this new geoeconomic landscape, they will be better scored. That's my conviction, and that's what the report shows. So, top insight from this week's publication. Projects that address only efficiency are a thing of the past. The new winning proposals, they've got to stress, they've got to build on resilience metrics. Not just use the word resilience, but actually consider how you're going to measure that resilience, what metrics to use. So you think about software that bypasses choke points, or you think about partnerships that go beyond paper, really interoperability. You think about impact strategies that are grounded in geopolitics, not just goals that live in the real world, let's put it this way. So use this index as a mirror, as a map. Benchmark your consortium partners, your value chain, your digital readiness, because it's like a readiness score for international credibility. Okay, so I hope I've built some FOMO. The full report drops this next Friday, July the 18th, in my newsletter Polisdoxa, the transitions letter. You have the link in the description. Subscribe, please. Be the first to download these ranking tables, block comparisons, these scenario heat maps, because in research and innovation, timing is everything. So let's make sure we're not just asking, are we there yet? But actually getting there first. Okay, hope you enjoy it. Please like and share. See you soon. Back to InnovEU, the EU Project Chronicles. Welcome, Pablo. Thank you for being here. Today we have with us Pablo Frieiro from CETIM. He's based in La Coruña, Spain, in Galicia. And CETIM is a technological center. I'm very eager to hear about it. But before we start, please, Pablo, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get started? How did you end up doing this kind of work?
So thank you very much for the invitation, and it's a pleasure to be here. As the response for the first question, my career, I was first studying chemistry in the University of Santiago de Compostela. So I realized that I was interested in the inorganic chemistry field, and I started a PhD in that field, working in palladium chemistry. It was at low TRL. We were making basic research to understand some critical questions of the palladium chemistry, and with a focus on the industrial application of the palladium as a catalyst. It was a field that was flamboyant at this point because the Nobel Prize was awarded to 3 chemists that was working in this field. So it was very interesting for me, and it was a first experience as a researcher. After that, I moved to the University of Bristol to a postdoc, and I was also working in other positions as a researcher. And then I moved to the industry, and I started to see how the research is in the industrial field at higher TRL. You are most looking for profits and to improve the economic viability of the things. And in these positions was when I realized that there was a field open, which was the research management. I completed several courses about that because I was really interested on that. Because when I was a researcher, I realized that there were many things that were not under your control, and there were many opportunities to expand not only the science, the technology, and I was very interested in this transition from the basic concepts to the technologies and to the market. So in my career, at the end, I was in all the TRL levels, from the research to the industry. And once I was trying it and I was more aware of this career in the research management, I was started to work again in the same university in which I do my PhD, but in an institute of material science as a research manager. It was my first position. Then I was doing many things because the institute was new and they have many needs in different fields, technology transfer, European projects, national projects, achieving funds, also doing events. And after 2 years in this position, and during the pandemic, I joined CETIN. And CETIN is a research center that works beyond between the TRL of the basic science and the industrial. It makes many services for industries, and it works also in European projects and also in national projects, always with this focus on circular economy and sustainability. So in this position, I was more specialized only in European projects. I'm part of the European Projects Office. We have now about 12 ongoing European projects in Horizon and in other calls like LIFE. And in this role, I'm developing proposals because I am in both sides. I'm developing proposals, doing networking, and also participating in project implementation and in some cases in project coordination. I think that you must see both sides. I'm more focused on the new proposals, but I would not like to be separated from the coordination because you also know many things that are very useful for proposals, and I think that you need to be in contact with the day-to-day of an ongoing project to do a good proposal.
So you started as a researcher in the chemistry field, but now as a research manager, you work with other fields. You mentioned you're running, you said 12, I think 12 projects. Are they all in the same area or are they in multiple areas?
No, as a researcher, I was working in something very specific. Then in the industry, I have to open a bit the ideas, but everything was in some way connected to chemistry. And now it's true that CETIN is a technological center that has an important area of people working on materials, eco bioprocesses that are also related to chemistry, but we work also in other fields. It's multidisciplinary research. We have also biologists. We work also we have also a research area which is about the digitalization of industry with another kind of staff and other kind of profiles and disciplines working together. So I am dealing with projects that has some important chemical aspects, but in others I have to deal with biotechnological aspects and also with digital twins, for instance, and other aspects.
And I think you mentioned that you're running projects with TRLs that go from basic science to almost market or marketing stage. Does that mean that you'll have different kinds of partners in different projects resulting of those different TRLs? Or am I really
No,
out of the subject?
yeah, it's true, of course. And as in my current position, we are a technological center. We are situated more or less between TRL 3 to TRL 7, and we're working on this transition. But the projects are different. Some of them are more in research and innovation actions, and others are more connected to the marketing with the live projects that are looking for a demonstration of something and end with demonstrators. My organization can be in these different roles in a project, but I was also mentioned that during my career I was in the different positions because in the university I was doing basic science and trying to understand the fundamentals of palladium and iron chemistry. Then I was in the companies that were solving problems that have to be solved sometimes in 3 weeks because they are the higher technical questions. And now we are in this technological center, which is like a transition, and we are in the middle of which is called the Death Valley.
Yeah, the Death Valley. Yeah. You have partners from the industry, or are all your partners always universities and research centers?
No, most of our partners are from the industry, but of course we also collaborate a lot with universities and other research centers in Spain and in other countries of Europe, and also in other countries outside Europe, like India. We have a project which was a cooperation with South Africa. So we are cooperating with many partners in different kinds, university, research centers, industries, and in different countries.
How important do you think is that international aspect of the partnerships? How important is it to have partners from, you mentioned South Africa or India or France, for instance? Is that important, or could the same results be obtained without that kind of international partnership?
I think that it's very important to have international partnership because, for instance, you have it's like in the same country, people tend to think in the same way in some cases. It's a very sociological question, but people from the north might think different than you and have different approaches. People from other cultures, I think that this is very relevant for all the research because you have different views of the war and different formulas and different strategies to find a solution to a problem. And I think that the cooperation is very relevant for the research. And in some cases, that like this particular case of South Africa, it was very relevant to have partners there because they have palladium mines in this country. So it's relevant to have the experts in the area, the experts in the field. And I realize also that there are some problems that affect different parts of the world, or different parts of Europe. Maybe you can have a problem with mussels here in Galicia, in the north of Spain, but in Belgium they are also having problems with mussels, and maybe in Norway, and maybe in other places. So many problems have this impact in different areas, and is one of the points that the European Commission is always looking for.
Can you, I'm just curious, can you, in a short number of words, explain what is palladium and why do you research palladium? What's the use of it?
Palladium is a metal which is very, very expensive, but with minimum quantities of this metal, you can catalyze a reaction. So you are not wasting the palladium, you can reuse it many times. And you can transform one chemical in another. For instance, it's very useful for pharma industry to produce pharmaceutical components. It can be used to produce materials. This is a cheapest application, but you need to catalyze maybe the synthesis of a rubber or something like that. And you can also do other things like destroy a contaminant using palladium platinum also. For instance, some years ago, some of the catalysts of the cars were using these metals. It's a transformative metal.
Thank you for that, because I think it's important for people to understand what products, what specific products are actually produced or influenced by the use of these materials, because we don't touch palladium, we don't use palladium in our day-to-day. It's not something that most people know. Thank you for that. But let me get back to SETIM. You are the research center, a technological center, and how long has it been established?
We define setting as a technological center because we are more on the field of the developing technologies than doing the basic research. It was established, it's young because it was established like 12 years ago. It started just with 3, 4 people that were recruited from the universities, and they developed the basic areas of knowledge. But now we are about 100. It grew a lot in the last years because it was the strategy of developing a center. It was funded by an expert in technological centers that came from Catalonia, from other part of Spain, and he detected that it was a great opportunity here in Galicia to develop this kind of center, and so it was like driven by this business model of the technology development, which is not a very common business model, but it's working. But in any case, we are profitable and we can sustain our activity, but we are a non-profit organization. The point is not earning money. The point is provide services to industries, especially to SMEs. this was the one of the beginning points of the research center, but now we evolved and we work with several companies and other kind of partners.
Okay, so that's 12 years. It's some journey already, and you've been growing fast. From the projects you've been working on, is there one that you think kind of sets an image for SETIM, for the technological center?
Since we have 3 areas, we have different kind of projects. But for instance, we have a project which is very big. It's the Resurgency project. It's an Horizon project that the team is coordinating. And in this project, the circularity is one of the key drivers. Everything works across the water cycle. And the point of this project is to develop like a starting point for the concept that is the hues for circularity. The hues for circularity are groups of industries that can share some resources, and imagine that you have one kind of company that has something which is waste for them, but another company can take this waste and valorize it and use it. It's not just in one circular company. The concept is in an industrial park, and the concept is to develop these virtuous circles across the different companies. This project is the starting point to do this regarding to water and all the elements that are present in the water. We are working with three kind of industries because we are involved in a steel industry manufacturer that has a plant in Poland. We are involved in the companies Varna Steel and Celsa Group. We have also involved a company which is Navigator company, and we are working with Portugal in this plant. They have the water streams that contain cellulose and other materials, and we are also working with a Turkish company, Organic Chemia, which has a plant of different kind of polymers, and we are also recycling the water streams that they are using. The idea is a research project is to establish like examples, like lighthouses of these kind of companies and show what are their needs and what they can provide to others in order to, in the future, develop this circular concept. We are also working in this project with a water utility in Spain in an industrial park that is also working with the neighbors of this industrial park to combine the urban water also in these virtuous circles of the hoops for circularity. We developed the concept of seeds for circularity because they are at early stages, but in the future they can grow.
That's one area that seems to be quite important for SETIM, for you, the circular economy. Do you think Europe is making progress in that area? Is the economy becoming more circular, or is it just talk?
At the end, the concept of circular economy is not absolute. You cannot reach the absolute circular economy, but you can increase the circularity of your economical loops. So at the end, I think that Europe is progressing towards this because now we are seeing that the recycled products are increasing, but not also recycling, also the reuse or using things for different purposes. And in this field, I think that we are advancing. Of course, my opinion is I know that it's impossible to reach a 100% circularity world. The economy is going to be always linear. We will try to be as circular as possible.
Okay, and so if we start talking about the future, is that the kind of project you'll be looking for in the circular economy area, or are you open to other areas of research or other projects?
We are focused on the circular economy because it can be applied to many fields, to many industrial sectors. We are not focused just in one industrial sector. One of the mottos of the research of the team is that we are multi-sectorial. We develop technologies that can be applied many different sectors. So we are open to explore the how to increase the circularity in many sectors, developing bioprocesses, materials, or what can be needed, or providing digital tools.
So people who are developing projects in this area of the circular economy can get in touch with you and explore possible partnerships, right?
Of course, we are always looking for industrial problems or for research technologies that are promising, and our role is to support all the stakeholders in the development of new proposals. So yeah, we are always exploring potential gaps in which we can contribute with
Mhm.
our technologies and our expertise, and also of course with our facilities, because we have an interesting infrastructure that can be also used to, for instance, to upscale processes or to test different technologies like batteries. We have a laboratory to test batteries, and we have many capabilities that are interesting for the consortium.
I imagine that in many of these projects, the facilities are important. It's not something you do with paper and pen. You need industrial facilities. So I think that I believe that will be important. I will put your contacts in the notes of the podcast for people who might really want to get in touch with you. But tell me one thing from this experience you've been having. If you could change one thing in the whole process of EU funding, what would it be?
And there are some issues that can be improved. For instance, one point which is not funded is the proposal preparation, and the proposal preparation requires a very, very big effort that companies and research centers and other universities fund with their own resources. Sometimes it's true that some research organizations can have like baseline funding and like fundamental funding to do these kind of things. But when you have an investment of 3 months with many people working in a proposal, 3 4 months, and not one person, more than one,
Mhm.
and then you have a very good proposal with a very high score, sometimes even 15 points, and the proposal is not funded. It's like not fair. The result is the same with the third proposal when they are funding two. Is the same to be in the third and then like to be the worst proposal. So I think that in this field, some kind of prices or some kind of funds must be booked for that. And
It's
in this
interesting
field,
you
another.
mentioned that because if you look, there are some programs where they actually fund the proposal writing, like the Interreg Med calls always have this amount for research writing, but the
When you are
proposal
funded,
writing.
but not when you are not funded. When
Yeah,
you are
exactly.
in the in top ranking list but not funded, you cannot find this.
But in most programs, not even when you're funded, the proposal writing is not funded at all. And it takes, you mentioned it, and you're right, it takes some effort and it takes a lot of resources. You know, it clearly, I agree with you, it should be reviewed, that could be changed. Any other major change you would do if you could?
In line with that, in some the programs, especially the Horizon Pillar 2, is very prescriptive and is very limited. And I sometimes find that there are, for instance, 10 topics, and in one of the topics there is a strong competition with 100 proposals, while in other one it's not usual, but in some cases there are by far less competition. And sometimes imagine that in the hard competition topic with a 15 score, the maximum score, you are not funded, but in the other one with 10 points, which is the minimum score to be funded,
Yeah.
sometimes you can be funded. I think that this is also not fair, and I think that it should be something to ponderate the results depending on the number of applicants, like having some funds booked to see which is the call with more the most ideas with the highest number of proposals and mobilize some resources to fund instead of two, maybe three or four. I think that this will bring to the portfolio excellent proposals and maybe it can help to support the policies and to solve more problems and
I
also
totally
to
agree with
encourage
you.
researchers
Yeah, I
because it's
totally
very
agree because
disencouraging.
I can see that in some calls, really great projects are wasted. They're not going to be funded because there are so many good ideas,
Mhm.
and that's a waste. Well, I guess that wouldn't be that hard to put some flexibility in the programs that would allow the Commission to allocate some funds to these proposals that were excellent, but not as excellent as the others. And I think that I agree with you. It would reduce the waste of good ideas, good proposals. Yeah. Okay. So, what are your plans for the future? What do you want to be making in the next, I don't know, 5, 10 years?
In my future, I don't know what I'm going to do in 10 years. I think that I can be working in the same field, but everything is going to be different for sure because it's a field that is evolving too much and we have some assets that are coming here like the artificial intelligence and other kind of things. But I think that there are some points that are also relevant to develop a project, and our role as research managers is going to be also important in the future to deal because we need to deal between people to collaborate. We need to deal with other things, and despite having some automatic processes thanks to the artificial intelligence, for instance, we are going to have to deal with other points. So I think that it's going to be highly relevant and highly interesting to be part of there. I have been in this field for some years, but I think that I can continue growing and making more contacts and being in more networks of proposal of different topics, and I can learn about more things. So for me, it will be interesting to continue my career in this way.
Mm. Thank you for that. Would you leave some advice to newcomers, to someone who is planning to join this field, maybe work as research manager, someone who is starting a career? I don't know, the newcomers in general. Would you have some advice for them?
It's not very easy to. First of all, I would like to highlight that newcomers are more than welcome because it's not very easy to hire people with this specialization because there is not, at least in Spain, there is not a degree to study this field. If you study chemistry, you cannot specialize in research management. If you study economics, there are some kind of studies that can be a bit related, but they are not exactly for this field. And yeah, it's not easy to find the first opportunities, but once you start to do some kind of not regulated courses, but some courses from the university or from the state or from experts, you are demonstrating that you are interested in this career. So after that, you might find an opportunity to start, and then once you start, you can learn from people that have more experience, and it's a nice career to be involved. And there is a high demand of professionals in this field.
I do believe that many of the institutions in my country would benefit from having experienced research managers. I agree with you in that there's a need for this kind of professionals. So before we end, do you have any final message, any final thought you want to close with?
I think that as a final thought, it's a very nice career, at least for me. It's a role that it was tackled by the researchers in the past, but once you are a researcher and you want to explore science, you don't want to do other kind of things that deal with project management, deal with these things, and the support of a research manager is always interesting. If you are in a university, if you are in an R&D department of an industry, or if you are developing proposals in a technological center. And people at the end, it's a profession in which you are helping others. So in this field, you are usually welcome, and the relation with your colleagues is always wonderful because of that. They appreciate your support, and that's the feeling that I have in my career. So I encourage people that like these kind of topics, like project management and dealing with economics, and also like science, to explore this career pathway.
Mm. Thank you very much to Pablo. Thank you for this interview. And well, Pablo Frieiro will be in set team, and the contacts will be available in the podcast notes. Thank you. See you soon, and have a nice week.
Thank you very much.
Ready to turn your passion for fundamental rights into a fully funded EU project? Stay with me, because in the next 4 minutes I'll show you how the brand new SERV 2025 Char-Lidi call can finance up to 90% of your costs, help you scale impact, and even save months of proposal writing guesswork. If you're a civil society leader, legal clinic, university, or rights-focused SME, this is your chance to make money. The program is pumping 18 million euros into 5 priorities, and save money because you only co-finance 10%. You'll save time with a single-stage application, and you'll definitely feel smart by leveraging EU funds to fight hate speech, strategic lawsuits, or whistleblower retaliation. The SERV 2025 Char-Lidi sits under the Citizens' Equality, Rights and Values program. The Commission wants projects that activate the EU Charter of Fundamental Rights on the ground. Concretely, the call funds charter awareness and capacity building, empowering civic space, strategic litigation, combating hate speech and hate crime, protecting whistleblowers. Expected outcomes include stronger civic networks, better data on hate crime, and more strategic court victories that set EU-wide precedents. Priority ring-fenced budget, practical angle charter, Charter Euro 3.6M, train officials and activists, civic space, civic, Euro 3.5M, shield CSOs from attacks litigation, Euro 2.4M fund test cases in court, hate speech, Euro 6M counter online and offline hate whistleblowers, whistle, Euro 2.5M strengthen reporting systems, total call, envelope, Euro 18M. Aim for a grant between 75 euros K and whatever you can justify. Just remember the EU covers 90% of eligible costs. Coordinator, non-profit entity established in an EU member state. Partners, non-profit or for-profit bodies. For-profits must team with at least one non-profit. Projects may be national or transnational. Consortium size is flexible, mineral or one eligible applicant. International organizations are welcome, natural persons are not. Register every partner in the EU participant portal before submitting. Call opens the 27th of May, 2025. Submission deadline, the 18th of September, 2025, 17 o'clock, CET. Evaluation results, March 2026. Grant agreements, June 2026. Projects may kick off soon after. Laser focus on impact. Spell out concrete policy shifts or court precedents. Bundle complementary skills. Pair a legal NGO with a data-savvy SME for stronger scoring. Budget for value. Keep coordination under 10% and show best value procurement. Prototype fast. Use existing tools, then scale under the grant. Reviewers love ready-to-deploy solutions. Ready to draft? Jump to the EU Funding and Tenders portal, search SERV 2025 Char-Lidi, and download the forms. The sooner you start, the faster you secure your slice of that 18 million euros pie. Link below. Don't leave money on the table.
InnovEU, the EU Project Chronicles, is a weekly video podcast. Please subscribe to the Polyxox newsletter to receive every podcast episode. And if you like receiving it, please press like in whatever platform you are watching or listening. Also, please share InnovEU and Polyxox with anyone you feel will enjoy it. Credits: author and host Fernando C. Gaspar, music Hugo Gaspar, Lisbon, Portugal, 2024. Reach us by email or DM.